Welcome back to the 20 in 20, take 2. I'm Jay Swanson, and I'm doing all 20 arrondissements in 20 videos over the course of 20 weeks, thus 20 in 20. And I'm making a video in each as I go to share 5 of my favorite places in each arrondissement as we go, which is getting really hard to do because these central arrondissements are packed with stuff that I love, stuff that you're probably wondering if I'm gonna do, stuff I'm not gonna do, and stuff that might end up disappointing a few people because I didn't do, but you know what? You already knew about it, so you can come do that on your own. There are a couple of these things that are gonna be kind of obvious, like the giant mausoleum behind me, which I'm hoping to go up to the top. In the interim, we're gonna go see a couple of really cool sites in the area. I'm gonna take you to one of my favorite museums in the city that I doubt you've ever seen before, and we're gonna finally get a really good beer. It's been a while since we've had a really good beer. We're gonna go get a really good beer. That's my plan. Let's go. But first, obviously, coffee. Here's a lifesaver for you. Crible. Just across the street from the Natural History Museum, on the corner of Jardin des Plantes, not far from the Grand Mosquée, the Grand Mosque, the big mosque. It's Crible. Good coffee, tiny space, good pastries, worth a visit. And will absolutely save your life if you're dying for a little bit of coffee and you happen to be walking through the park, or you want to go to the museum, or you just got out of the museum. Definitely the closest, best option. And I just found this not that long ago. They've been open for, I think, about a year and a half. Correct me if I'm wrong, leave a thing in the comments, but I only managed to actually come try them about 3-4 months ago. Maybe 6 months ago, if I'm being generous. It's on my list for a long time. Very friendly service. Wonderful, just delicious. It'll save your life. People. And thanks, by the way, to today's patron producer, David Robinson, one of my oldest, longest running patrons, a buddy of mine from my fantasy writing days, and just a generally nice guy. Thanks, Dave. And to all my patrons for making this possible, sending me out to eat some tasty food and go up to some high heights because it's not free. They're paying the way to do it. So thank you. Appreciate it. Let's keep going. Jardin des Plantes. I wouldn't say this is one of my favorite parks in the city, but it is a great park in the city. And the reason it's a great park in the city, I mean, if you love plants, obviously the name says it all. This is definitely the home of Paris's love of plants. However, it is also the home of the Natural History Museum, and you've got a lot going on here, especially if you're traveling with kids and you want some stuff to do that might also be slightly educational. This has got everything for you. It's got a paleontology museum. It's got a menagerie, which is basically just a small zoo that has red pandas in it. And behind me is the Grande Galérie, the big gallery, which has the Evolution Museum in it, which I tend to refer to as the Natural History Museum, but I believe that it actually is all-encompassing for all these places. There's also a mineralogy museum over here, if you're like a geohead. I'm not, but it would probably be pretty fun to go check out at least once. However, what I'm most interested in seeing today is the Evolution Museum. Let's go check out some bones. There are 2 real reasons to come to the Natural History Museum or the Museum of Evolution. One is it's air conditioned, which is really nice. 2, there's an elephant. There's everything here. It's pretty crazy. If you've got kids especially, this place is pretty magical to come and bring them, to let them see all these animals up close, but really up close where there's no fence between them. Obviously, there's a lot of educational components to this. There's a lot to learn. There's an unbelievable number of displays, but the space is so beautifully designed. There's so much wood in this place. It's a pretty cool experience. If you happen to be into natural history, science, biology, zoology, or you just want to walk into what feels like the 19th century for a second, it will fit the bill. It was also only 10 euros to get in here as an adult price. And there's so many options of things to see and do in this park, Jardin des Plantes, but I figured this is a good one. I wanted to come in here last time, but no Coopers allowed, so I left him behind. Also, he probably would have wanted to play with all these giant animals, and it would have been adorable, but I can't afford that kind of damage. Now you might have noticed I don't talk that much about Rue Mouffetard, and that's because, well, it's not that great. Fight me. But that doesn't mean that there isn't something delicious here. Now there are a lot of creperies here, like more creperies than you're gonna see in the rest of France just on this one street alone, maybe even in Brittany, I don't know. However, that doesn't mean that they are all, or any of them, are any good. I haven't tried all of them, so I can't say for certain, but by the looks of them, it's gonna be pretty hit or miss. However, Petit Grec is a good spot. Now, I'm not usually the first person you go get a crepe, but when I get a crepe, I'm looking for something delicious and savory, and these guys have got some pretty interesting options on offer. This is a student classic, a favorite, so much so that they actually opened a second location in a possibly more convenient location if you're not coming to Rue Mouffetard, but you are gonna be somewhere like the Luxembourg Gardens. Before the left bank stands come after me, of course, Rue Mouffetard is very interesting to walk. There are some good, delicious things here. One of my favorite coffee shops is here. This creperie is very good, like I'm about to show you. And one of my favorite tap houses that I found a long time ago, is just around the corner. So there's a lot of really good stuff to be had in the neighborhood. Don't get me wrong, it's not that it's not worth coming over here. It's just that we're starting to wander into territory where it's like, less and less interesting to me. Let's just put it that way. Let's go get a crepe. I got an egg, ham, and cheese. Now, something that's interesting, if you don't eat ham, they do have ham that's like chicken, turkey, everything else. Now, what you might not think of as being particularly French here is that they do put lettuce, tomato, onion in it, and it's delicious. One thing to clarify though too is that in terminology, so in English we tend to just talk about crepes as a whole, but crepes in France, or crêpes, tend to be sweet, and galettes are gonna be savory. They're made with buckwheat flour, or black flour as he just described it a minute ago. And the standard cheese is gonna be Emmental, which is close to a Swiss cheese. It's kind of a standard cheese across the board that you're gonna find everywhere. Whew, but this is exactly what I needed. Salted, peppered, and the way that they grill the onions between, like in the egg and underneath the cheese is great. It's not just that it's tasty and inexpensive. This was €7, and the drink that I got with it was another €2. But it's generous. Like you can walk away with this and feel like you're holding a significant amount of food, but not heavy. It's actually fairly light. Here's the thing, I think, with the Pantheon is that if you're gonna do it, you gotta do it right. And you do it right by coming up for the panorama. It's just so nice. My favorite views of the city of Paris, in my opinion, are the ones where you're just at and above the roof line. So you get a little bit of the depth in the city. You get to see the towers not so far away. You can kind of look down on life, but not so far away that it feels like you're staring at a bunch of ants. And this view is actually really winning me over right now, specifically because there's no rush. There aren't a lot of people here. I'm sure that there are times where it's a little bit more full, but I don't know that many people even know about it. And you get to see a lot of the monuments, if not most of the monuments of Paris from this vantage point. The cool thing is that this used to be a timed visit where they would come up with you. You were in a group, they would shepherd you up, shepherd you down, so you're under a bit of pressure to get through pretty quickly. Now, they give you a 45-minute maximum time limit, but nobody's really pushing you. So you can come up here, wander around a little bit, get your views, get your photos, and just breathe a little bit above the hustle and bustle of the streets below. You get to see a lot of really, really cool things up here. Like, it's a panoramic view of the city. So you've got Tour Montparnasse in the south, you've got the Eiffel Tower and Les Invalides to the west. You've got Saint-Sulpice really close here, which is a church that we hung out in front of, with that terrible, terrible market that ruined the whole thing, but we hung out in front of in the 6th arrondissement not that long ago. La Défense is in the distance behind that. You have the Sorbonne, you have the Louvre, you have Notre Dame, and you can see how it's coming along, the work that they're doing there, which is pretty exciting. And of course, Sacré-Cœur up on the hill. There's a lot of great stuff you can see from up here. I really like this. It's worth it. If you're gonna come up here, then it's all worth it together. But you have to come up here. Like, don't just do the Pantheon interior by itself. Come up and see the panorama. Super, just a lot of stairs, over 200. It says downstairs. You'll see it on the screen. It's a lot of stairs, you feel it. Eat breakfast before you come. The Pantheon was originally built to be a church, was taken over by the Revolution. It exchanged hands and eventually landed in the firm hands of the Republic and is now the mausoleum to the finest examples of republicanism in France. I have never been down to the crypt before, and this is actually really, really, to me at least, it feels like a very special place. Like, obviously, the greatest and brightest have been buried here. It was weird. There's an index or like a map at the beginning where you can find whoever it is you're looking for. Victor Hugo is really deep in here, but Josephine Baker didn't work. I clicked and I couldn't find her, and so thankfully found her just by walking around. But the amount of prestige to be buried here, but also the way that they handle each tomb and the number of empty tombs, like, it doesn't give me much, but it gives me a little bit of hope of getting buried here one day. Not that I'll know, but this is special. It's cool down here, so it's a nice break from the heat upstairs, but also I don't know, there's something about it that's like a little bit extra, I don't want to say magical. That's putting it, it's a little bit too intense, but I will say that coming down to the crypt, like upstairs is pretty impressive. It's a beautiful structure, lots of art. You get to see the pendulum swinging, you get to, get a picture of what's going on. But when you come down here, I think that this rounds it out for me. You go up to see the view, you come all the way down to the crypt. It's gonna be worth a visit. It's definitely gonna be worth a visit. Just behind the Pantheon to the left, it's very easy to miss. And I try to say this in every video and in my guide and everywhere I can. Saint Étienne du Mont is probably my third favorite church in the city, second favorite right now with Notre Dame on the bench. This place, I think, is very special, is very unique. There's something about this church to me that is very organic. The way that I used to describe this, at least, it feels almost like you're walking into a forest made out of stone. Parisian limestone, as it would turn out. Like with those walkways up at the top that go around, I want to sneak around up there. I've always wanted to get up there and just see like how far can those things actually go. You have the spirally staircases to that central feature where I'm sure somebody stands and talks occasionally, right? Do they do anything up there? I don't know. But then it continues up into the not of the rafters, but just along the upper half of the columns. And I don't know, there's something about it to me that just it's not only calm, which a lot of churches are really nice to go into because they can be quiet, calm, cool, make it for a little bit of an escape from the hustle and bustle of the city outside. But there's also something about this one to me that just feels like welcoming and warm in a friendly way. And I don't know why that is. It's also the home of the relics of Saint Genevieve, the patron saint of Paris, who saved the city back in the day, and then the city did her dirty and threw her into the river, as I understand it, during the Revolution. To my knowledge, very little to none of her is still in there, but I'm not an expert on relics or reliquaries. Yeah, if you'd like to go check out her tomb, I suppose, or at least her tomb in spirit, that's the spot to do it. I don't know, it's a really cool church. I don't think you should miss it. If you happen to be up here, you're at the Pantheon, it's only like another 2 minutes to walk over there. Just take a stroll through it. I think for me, I find it to be one of the special ones, and especially if you're trying to scratch the like Notre Dame-less itch in your life while you're here visiting, it's another one that'll help to round those corners. And then I wouldn't necessarily recommend sitting right here by traffic, but you do as you please. Cheers. Always make eye contact. Don't curse anyone with bad sex. Good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
Thanks for texting me. Brewberry is a spot that I found somehow 5 or 6 years ago, wandering around, walked by, it was craft beer. I was like, ooh, interesting. They used to have the spot across the way as well as their cellar, but then I think they sold that off. I don't know what COVID did. They've swapped owners at least once, maybe twice. So I did figure it out. There are new owners as of a week ago at Brewberry. They're Peruvian. They're going to be offering some Peruvian food. So it's craft beer, a lot of French craft beer, Peruvian food, which is a huge improvement. I can't wait. I'm definitely coming back to check it out. If you like South American hospitality and French craft beer, it's going to be a winning combination. But the place is still here. The beer is still good. It's a lot of local good French beer. Cold off the tap. What more could you ask for? The street, while I would say this area, like I said, I'm not the biggest Mouffetard fan, and I would say that the area is cheesy. Cheesy can be fun. It might be exactly what you're looking for. Did I just get cursed by saying cheesy might be fun? That door exploded really loudly as I said that, but it can be fun. For me, in this neighborhood, between the creperie around the corner, the beer here, and one coffee shop down the street, yeah, you can't go wrong in the end. Oh, and my favorite banh mi, like my favorite student level banh mi place just down the street as well. There's some good stuff here. Anyways, if you're a craft beer fan, you can't go wrong with Brewberry. It's gonna be delicious. Cheers to that. Thanks for watching. I haven't even pitched the guide at all during this entire episode, I don't think, but go to ParisInMyPocket.com, grab my guide if you want all my recommendations, and maybe to discover what parts of the city I do think are heavily populated with deliciousness, because there are some neighborhoods that are definitely, they have more than others. This one is a good one though. Don't get me wrong, really good for walking around, really good for exploring, wonderful to visit. In the interim, thanks for watching, thanks to my patrons for making this possible, and it was a good run while we had it. Apparently this is the end of my career. Cheers.